This is Townsquare Sunday on 1420 WBSM, the place where people come together to talk about the good things happening in and around New Bedford.
Come together right now. Oh.
And now, the moderator of Townsquare Sunday, Jim Phillips.
And welcome to our weekly rundown of some of the things happening here on the South Coast. This is Townsquare Sunday, and I'm Jim Phillips. The old Southworth Library on Southworth Building on Elm Street in Dartmouth has been a point of contention for, I would say, about a year. And recently, the town's Board of Selectmen, however, the Select Board decided to lease the property to the Dartmouth Cultural Center Incorporated. And folks involved with the center already have a robust schedule of programs they're offering to the public to keep that building up and running. Joining me from the Cultural Center Group is Jill Law, the president of that organization, and two other members, Kathleen Del Sordo and Karen Zukas. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Let's start with a history lesson about the old Southworth, because I guess is it the oldest building in New Bedford, Kathleen?
In Dartmouth, perhaps. No, it's not the oldest building in Dartmouth, because there's the Aiken House that is being restored on Dartmouth Street. But we're the first library in the town, and we were donated to the town and opened in 1890. So the property itself is very beautiful and very historic. Has lots of sentiment to the people in our town who have used it for many years, mostly as a library, but when the new library opened, it had other uses. The groups like the seniors used it for a senior center at that point, and the DNRT used it for their offices for many years.
Natural Resource Trust.
Yes, the Natural Resource Trust. And then it was empty for a few years, and that's when the town was thinking about selling the property. And at that point, I think the town meeting members were really concerned and said no at town meeting. But the year later, the town administration thought perhaps it still should be sold and was going to sell the building for private use, which is when our group decided to form and to hold on to all the old historic beauty and develop programming that could continue to be used by the town forever and ever, we hope.
Certainly. As I recall, there was a private developer who was interested.
Yes, there was a gentleman who came in and made a proposal. He was going to buy the property at $300,000+, and we were going to lease it. It took us about 2 months to put together, on a very short time frame, a non-for-profit corporation, which we are, and to put together a response to the first RFP for nonprofit use. At that point, the town was taking the building to town meeting, but we got to speak to the select board the night before town meeting. So we've had a very short window and shared with them where we were and what we were doing, and they in their good judgment and wisdom, took the proposal off a town meeting floor. So we ended up having more time. They gave us until March of this year to come back with a more comprehensive RFP showing our use of the building and how it would be used by all town members. And so that's what we did. And we came back in March, and we came back with another proposal. But they said, well, we'll continue this because, unfortunately for us, it was between town administrators, and there wasn't anyone really handling the process, but we worked very closely with the town treasurer at that time, who was kind of alternating town administrator. That was Greg Barnes. And we were working with him to put it together. But finally, we got the proposal and the lease the day before we opened our program registration. So that was September 1st. So it's taken us over a year to get the process going.
I understand some programs will start on the 17th. We'll talk about that in just a moment here. Look, I'm going to let all three of you answer this, but we'll start with Kathleen.
Sure.
Kathleen, you could have held these programs almost anywhere in Dartmouth, you could have found space for these programs and done these things. Why should this building be saved?
Oh, it has so many meanings and memories to people. When we shared, we had a brief open house in December when the Paintner and Business Association had their Christmas walk. And we had individuals come in because no one had seen the building for many years. So they came in to view the building, and everyone was just sharing memories about their childhood and the library and how the librarians helped them. So the building has not only good meaning to everyone in town, but the history of the building as well is just phenomenal. In that it is the stone structure, it has a round room, it has beautiful stained glass windows, it has a fireplace, and it has a basement that's wonderful for artwork. So we looked at it and said, this is a very good place to have all these cultural programs on a small venue, not a very large, but to have people coming back into the building. It's something that I think everyone, especially our generation and older, would absolutely love to see.
Karen Zukas, I don't know what you can add to that. She gave a wonderful description of this building, but why do you feel it's important to save it?
I think it is a beautiful building, probably one of the most beautiful in the area, and it does have its historical value. It's also very cozy inside. It's very homey. It's sort of almost made to be shared. It's a community venue. It's very close to everything in Padenham Village, and it's spacious enough for people to really enjoy and do community activities and take classes and have meetings and lectures, etc.
And Jill Law is the president of the Cultural Center. Jill, I'm sure you agree with these two ladies, but is there any personal thoughts you have about saving this building and why it was important?
Absolutely. The original intent of the Southworth family was to have the building be a public building as a gift to the town. I think that should continue. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think the building itself has that persona of being used by the public. It needs life in it.
Jill, how much work does the old Southworth need? Now, look, you're going to start programs, I think, on Monday, the 17th, which is tomorrow.
Basically.
But how much work does the building need? Is it in fairly good repair?
It needs a lot of TLC. It needs to be updated mechanically. It needs many items that would bring it up to date to make it more conservative for energy, to make it more comfortable for the students and the teachers and the public in general. So it needs many things: windows, plumbing, electrical. They're all antiquated. They all need improvement.
All right. You're listening to Townsquare Sunday. My guests are Kathleen Del Sordo and Jill Law of the Dartmouth Cultural Center, also Karen Zukas, who is a member as well, and the center, of course, is now housed at the old Southworth building on Elm Street. For most people, they might recall that it's the former home of the Dartmouth Natural Trust organization, which moved on. They have another, obviously, they're still in town.
They are on Chase Road in a renovated building with an addition to it. They have a beautiful location and building.
How would you describe the Dartmouth Cultural Center, which is what you three are involved in? Why don't we start with Karen on that one? Karen, how would you describe this organization?
We are a grassroots not-for-profit. We have programming, educational programming. We have anything from yoga, sushi workshops. We have some satellite locations wherein we'll teach. We have a lot of art and craft, basket weaving and scrimshaw, kind of local historical arts and craft we're trying to offer, as well as traditional arts and crafts. We will also have community outreach with schools and elderly centers, programming that will benefit people gratis. And we are mostly interested in building community and reaching out to the public and sharing. I actually have lots of ideas for for
Endless.
the future and
That's great.
current. Yes.
Jill, you have some programs ready to roll out on the 17th, on Monday, which is, kind of amazing since you've only really had things, in your hand by September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
But you are ready to go with some programs.
We are, and we have classes that will be held. Not every class is filled, but certainly Karen has done a great job putting the program together. She's our program director, and we are ready to go.
And you're satisfied with class sizes of 2 or 3 or 4?
We're
That
hoping
works.
that there's a minimum of 4. Some classes would max out at 12, depending on the location. But typically, we would like to have 6 to 8 students in each class. We feel that's a nice size for the teacher-to-student ratio, one-on-one experience versus a huge crowd that wouldn't work in the building anyway.
Mm-hmm. Karen, has there been a lot of interest in signing up for these programs? I've seen you on social media. You've gotten good coverage and certainly in the print media in terms of what you're trying to do there. The local papers, the weekly papers, and also the Standard Times has run an article when you were awarded the lease. So has there been a lot of interest in signing up the programs?
There has been a lot of interest, and considering that we're brand new, we're just starting to get the word out, and depending on word of mouth and people to help us out, I think there really has been a lot of interest, and I think there'll only be more and more because we have some, wonderful teachers, very seasoned teachers who have varied and unique skills, and I think what we have to offer is different than a lot of programs in the area. So I think that alone has enabled people to really see that there's something different that we're going to offer, and yes.
Jill, how can people register? What generally is the cost of these programs? Was a suggestion about maybe free or low cost? What is there a cost?
There will be free classes. We haven't specified what they will be, but we plan to reach out to the high school and middle school for programs for them, as well as senior centers.
Yeah.
Those will be free. We have paid for classes because we need to pay our utilities and insurance bills. We have ranges from workshops that are a 2-day weekend event that might be $40, which is very reasonable, up to 8-week classes that range around $200. So there's a mix.
And you're the president of this organization, and I know what that means. That means you have to think about fundraising to repair the building, all of that. So I imagine we'll be hearing a lot of talk about fundraising in the near future.
You certainly will.
Anything
Yes, you
planned? Anything planned now?
At the moment, we're trying to reach out to more corporate type of donations or sustainment. We need people that can be generous enough to sustain us. We will continue with our normal fundraising of discounts at profits from restaurants where they will give us a percentage of their intake.
Mm-hmm.
And we will probably have another public fundraiser with music and wine and cheese and
Sure.
that kind of thing.
No, yet was the one at the restaurant? Was that Faye's?
We had one at Faye's,
Yeah.
we had one at Not Your Average Joe's, and we had one at the Cask and Pig.
Okay. Startup money.
Startup money indeed. All important. Every dollar is important.
Will all of the programs be held at the Southworth, or will some be located at other areas? Karen, why don't you tackle that one?
We will have some sushi workshops. There's Sunday morning sushi brunch workshops. Bring a friend, bring anybody you like. They're a lot of fun. You'll be making 4 different kinds of dishes with William J. Foley, a wonderful local chef. And those will meet at St. Mary's Church in Dartmouth. Also, we'll have Artscapes, who will be doing clay and jewelry and glass workshops. And they're a wonderful venue and a wonderful collaboration with us, and they're on Orchard Street in New Bedford, and they have a great space to work within, and those classes will be very fun, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. So you've really just gotten in there over the past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there had to be a little bit of a cleanup, I would assume. And
Oh, yes.
so you ladies have been working pretty hard there. Karen says she's there full time, pretty much. But it's the start of something new and exciting in Dartmouth for the people of Dartmouth. Are you open to allowing other folks in, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
We
you don't
have
want to limit your
student-
membership here.
No. We are getting students from as far away as Beverly, Mass. We have a student coming down for a workshop. But majority are from Dartmouth, Westport, Bedford.
And anything else you'd like to add about this very special program? Sure, we'll let Kathleen speak a little bit about it. Go ahead, Kathleen.
What we're looking for right now is continued enrollment. We have designed, Karen's put together so many wonderful programs, and they're starting to fill, and some of them are very close to reaching the minimum capacity. So we are really reaching out to the whole South Coast to enroll very quickly so that anything that you may have in mind that you wanted to sign up for will still be available and present. So that's a very important key feature.
How can people sign up?
Online. Go online at the Dartmouth Cultural Center Inc.org. And there's the ability to sign up with your credit card, or you can see occasionally we put out the open registration sign in front of the old Southworth when we're all there cleaning and getting it ready and prepared. We're also looking very much for that major support, corporate support for building up the old utilities. We've got some sinks that need to be replaced and designed for more of the art purposes, and certainly our bathroom facilities. I think they were put in 1930-ish or so. So
Time to upgrade.
Obviously, they need some face uplifting, and our heating system, my goodness, we haven't even put on yet. We're keeping our fingers crossed. But we did have an energy survey, and they're going to get information back to us. So we'll see what else electrically, et cetera, will have to be done for the building.
The Dartmouth Cultural Center, located at the old Southworth building on Elm Street. My thanks to Kathleen Del Sordo, Julie Law, and Karen Zukas for coming in today talking about the Cultural Center. Good luck with this venture, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Exciting here.
Come take a class.
Don't go away. Town Square Sunday returns in just one moment.